Okay, so today I'll be talking about the scams that have been going around Singapore for it's been going around for some time, but the OCBC scam really brought it to the surface in terms of how much victims are losing money and whatever. So this is interactive talk. Just feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have any questions, and we can have this as more of a conversation than a talk. So starting off, so I guess everyone has heard of the OCBC scams, where people receive a SMS in their phone containing a text message that has a link to a website that looks like a bank website, and the text message itself looks like it comes from the bank. So the text message may appear to come from the sender called OCBC, and it may even appear alongside messages that have been received from OCBC. But of course, this message has been sent by the scammers, and if you go to the website and key in your details, you will get your money will be drawn down, and you will become very poor. So so why is it that stuff like this can happen? And the first thing that you have to talk about is how SMS is really quite decentralized. There is no particular server in that handles all the SMS messages in the world. So what happens is that SMS, there is a standard format. So there are fields of data fields that are contained within every SMS message, such as and these are specified in the mobile communication standards, which such as who's the sender, who's the receiver, what's the message content, when does the SMS expire, whether it is a broadcast message, and etc. etc. So basically, there is no way to authenticate that the sender is in fact who they are, because the SMS message has that data field called the sender, and whatever the sender puts there, the telco provider, they essentially accept it as it is, and they will just deliver it to their subscriber. So this would not have been such a problem if not for the fact that SMS is decentralized. So if everyone on the SMS system was on a single server with a single telco, that would be easy to authenticate that this text message was sent by claims to be sent by DBS, but it's not actually from DBS. The problem is that there are so many telcos, thousands of telcos around the world, and what happens is that you can just take any telco overseas, or if you can get them to generate the message with the header that says it's from DBS or OCBC, then a telco in Singapore, Singtel or StarHub, they'll just accept the name and they'll just display it to you as such. So yeah, so the problem is that there is no mechanism in SMS to prove that the sender is who they claim to be, and that's why you have this spate of people receiving scam messages from entities that claiming to be from entities that they know. So this same concept can be applied to emails and IP addresses. For emails, you can just send email to anyone with an arbitrary header that has any email address you like. So you can even send yourself an email that is spoofed, of course, that appears to be from president@whitehouse.gov or Lee Hsien Loong at pmo.gov.sg. You can do that because as long as the email is in the correct format with the header containing that fake email address, many email clients and your email server will probably accept it. For email, the thing is there is the option to actually set SPF or entry in the DNS to so that there is this for email there is this DNS entry that can be set so that when your email server receives the email from somewhere claiming that, oh, this is a message from president@whitehouse.gov, it can look up the DNS record of whitehouse.gov and it can see, okay, so this server sent me this email that claims to be from president@whitehouse.gov. I can see, the server that got me this email, is it authorized to send messages on behalf of this organization? So, but as far as I know, so this is already widely implemented in email. So if someone tries to spoof an email and send it to you, and you're using Gmail, for example, then if the email does not pass the verification, Gmail will actually prompt you, okay, you have to check whether this is a fraudulent email because the header appears to be spoofed. Same for IP addresses. IP addresses in the IP header, there's a field for origin IP address. So theoretically, anyone could send IP packets which claim to be from arbitrary IP address, and but to do a TCP three-way handshake with a spoof IP address would require much more work, particularly in terms of guessing the sequence number. But so, any questions so far? Everyone following? Okay, so basically, once you can spoof an email or SMS that claims to be some trusted party, and you can put it into the mailbox or the SMS inbox of the scam target of the scam, and there's a URL inside the message, then it's quite easy for someone to just normally the message will be alarming, such as, oh, your bank account has been compromised or your bank account has been frozen. So that kind of makes you want to click the link to check what's wrong, and it exploits the sense of urgency that such messages create to trick you into clicking the message and giving up your username and password. In other cases, they may instead of using a more alarming message, they may use something that triggers greeds, such as, oh, congratulations, you have won a lottery prize of $5,000 or $10,000, or even, oh, you have gotten $20 NTUC vouchers from DBS, and click here to claim. People who think who see this and think, wow, this is my lucky day, and they click and provide their details to kind of redeem the prize.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Once you click this, you mean you are caught straight away? Normally,
no, you're not caught. So once you click, you are brought to a website that is run by the attacker.
Oh, then you proceed.
That looks like the bank website, and it tells you, oh, put in your username and password. But that one is not run by the bank. It looks exactly the same as the bank. In fact, on top of the spoof of the fake websites, they may even have the same warnings as the bank has. Beware of phishing emails and SMSs. Do not click on any links that you find unfamiliar.
Yeah. So
that it is exactly the same as the real bank website, except, of course, it's a scam. And once you put in your details, they will be able to log into your online banking. Of course, there is one thing that I have to say, that is just giving them the theoretically, in theory, just giving them your username and password should not allow them to take away that much money from your account, because most banks nowadays have this thing called 2FA, two-factor authentication. So the problem with the OCBC case is really, and this is where OCBC really ought to take responsibility for it, is that OCBC is kind of, in the past when we do OTP, we have this small kind of, do I still have mine?
Digital token.
Yeah, digital token. And
physical.
Physical token. So it's a physical token. You can press a button and it'll give you the oh, I seem to have misplaced mine. Okay, I have to look for it after the talk. But so last time you can just press a button and then it'll give you the OTP, and this is safe because what happens is that there is a very accurate clock inside the OTP token, and then what happens is that the OTP token will take a look at the time, and they will encrypt. They'll do a one-way function on the time, and they'll produce a 6-digit string that is unique to the particular time and day and the user for which you're generating the OTP. And then the bank will look at its records and say, okay, indeed, at this time on this day, indeed, this is the 6-digit OTP that should have been generated by the token, and they'll let you in. So this is very hard for an attacker to exploit without actually getting hold of the physical token. So what happened now is that a lot of the banks are rolling out so-called digital tokens. And so basically what happens is that instead of a physical token, you get an app on your phone that you can use to click approve when you try to do a transaction. Of course, OCBC's implementation of this is particularly egregious because all you need to do to activate one token is to receive an SMS OTP on your phone. And the problem with SMS is that it is not secure. SMS is the encryption that SMS uses is the A5 cipher from GSM standard. Has a 54-bit key length, and it's completely insecure. I think nowadays, since 2004, any kid with a Pentium processor can just crack the encryption of SMS. So of course, apart from intercepting the message and decrypting it to get your OTP, an attacker can also hack the telco. So they can either do a social engineering attack. They convince someone in the telco to reroute your SMS message to their phone, so that instead of you receiving the SMS OTP, they get to receive it. Or they can just corrupt someone in the telco, like or they are a telco employee themselves, and they just intercept it for you, and you don't get to receive the SMS. So in any case, once you give the attacker your username and password to the OCBC bank, what they do is that they know your phone number as well, because that's how you receive the spoof text message from them. And what they do is that they will request a SMS OTP from OCBC to activate one token, which is OCBC's mobile two-factor app. And the problem with this is that it is too easy to activate one token. You literally only need to receive one SMS from OCBC, and that's it. So the problem with this is that, of course, as I said, SMS OTP is insecure. It is very easy to intercept an SMS OTP and steal it and use it. So the bank is saying, oh, SMS OTP is secure. You are at fault for giving the scammer the OTP, and you have to suffer all the losses. But in fact, you do not have to give the attacker the SMS OTP, because the attacker can get it himself or herself. So if you're using a SMS OTP for your bank, stop using it. Some banks, such as the Bank of China, which I use, you can actually set option to disable SMS OTP completely. You say, I do not want to receive SMS OTP. If someone gives you, tries to do SMS OTP with you, it's not me. So that way, if someone tries to transfer all your money through that means, you can't be held liable, because you already told the bank, I don't want to use SMS OTP. So yeah, so SMS OTPs are easy to intercept. So what happens here is that once one token is activated on the side of OCBC and the hacker can now pretend to be you. He can authorize large value transactions, and that's the second failure of OCBC. Because if you work with a proper bank like DBS, if you activate DBS's e-token on your mobile phone, it'll tell you, oh, you have to wait at least 12 hours to perform a high value transaction. So this 12 hours is a time in which the victim can actually realize, oh, I'm a victim of a scam. Someone activated my OTP token on an attacker's phone, and I have to I have 12 hours to go to the DBS branch and tell them to shut off access to the account by the attacker. So in the case of OCBC, of course, they did not have this 12-hour waiting period. They allowed the attacker to just start transferring hundreds of thousands of dollars upon the first activation of one token, which is completely unacceptable. And I don't know why OCBC is doing that, but what I know is that I can't come back to Singapore to close my OCBC account for until the end of the year. But what I can say is that I have only $4 left in my OCBC account. But yeah, so OCBC should really get their act up, because so that is a chain of trust that has to be established when a bank accepts instructions to perform transactions through their online service, and very clearly in the case of OCBC, the chain of trust has been broken, because there are elements in the chain of trust that should really not have been trusted, such as the SMS Otp, the activation of one token, and the the initiation of large transfers overseas immediately after one token is activated. So there are a lot of red flags that OCBC could and should have caught, but they did not. And of course, you hear stories about the victims. They go to the OCBC branch, while the attack is going on, and the OCBC staff tell them to wait. And then while they wait, they receive SMSs from OCBC saying, "Oh, 10,000 has been transferred from your account at UK. 10,000 has been transferred. 10,000 has been transferred." So they actually see their money being drained from their account in real time, and the OCBC refuses to do anything to help them. That's very bad. So so one suggestion that I have to the banks is that they can implement this kill switch in their internet banking applications. So once you've logged into the internet banking application and you've authenticated yourself, so there should be a kill switch to your account that is in the application. So once this is a phone that has accessed your account before, it should be able to, once you press the kill switch, disable all and any transactions that are coming in that are performed on your account from the online banking site. So once you activate the kill switch, no money can go in, no money can go out, and so I think that this is a safer way. So at least when you're a victim of a scam, you can press this button and it's it. Once before you go to and unless you go to a counter in a branch to reactivate your account, no transactions can be performed. So of course the kill switch can be there can be ways to misuse a kill switch, like if someone wants to deny you access to an account. And
how do you spell kill? Is it kill or kill? K-I-L-L.
Kill. 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 K-I-L-L. Yes.
Oh, kill. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry for my mispronunciation. So you want to have this button that you can press and disable your account completely, so that even if an attacker has access to your account, he can't do anything with it unless you go to a branch and perform the transactions yourself, which you won't do. So once a kill switch is activated, pending transactions should be cancelled. Like if you have sent $10,000 to the UK and it is pending, then the bank shouldn't honor the transaction. They shouldn't be sending the money to the UK. Yeah. So yeah, so I don't really understand how the bank's internal processes work, but some of these remittances, they can take a few days to do. And OCBC apparently, while this scam was taking place, the scammers were sending money from the victims' accounts to UK. And apparently, in some of those instances, the money was actually not yet transferred by OCBC to UK. It was just pending. But somehow or another, OCBC decided to actually release the money to the attackers, to the scammers, which is completely inexplicable. Even after the victims went to the branch to complain and say, oh, I've been a victim of a scam, still they decide to release the money to the scammers in the UK. So that is really inexplicable. But perhaps someone with more understanding of the bank processes can explain why this is so. But yeah, so in short, for the OCBC attack, they exploited multiple problems in the in the way that a user interacts with the bank to multiple vulnerabilities in order to in order to trick the bank into wiring money overseas from victims' bank accounts. Firstly, they used the unauthenticated sender data field in spoofed SMSs to pretend that the messages they send actually come from OCBC or DBS or whatever. So they in essence were able to pretend that the messages they send come from OCBC and have them appear in the same thread in the messaging app as previous messages the user has received from OCBC. Secondly, they were able to recreate the OCBC website, because that's kind of easy to do if you're a web developer, and they were able to write a very alarming message like your bank account has been blocked, and they were able to use that alarming message to get users to click on the link that brings them to the fake website and key in the details. And the third thing that happened was that they were able to intercept the OTP sent by OCBC to the user. In fact, in many cases, the user didn't even receive the OTP themselves because it was rerouted to the scammers. And since this GSM is a very distributed network, some of these messages might even have been routed overseas. You never know where it went. But the end effect is the hackers were able to get hold of the OTP and activate one token. And the last failure on the part of OCBC is that, number one, there was no waiting period before one token could have been used for large transactions. And number two, even after the OCBC was alerted to such such an attack happening to the victims, they did not immediately stop the transactions from happening. They allowed they made the victims wait. There was no process there was no internal process to actually stop this thing. They made the victims wait for their turn in the counter in the branch, and while that was happening, more money was stolen, and of course they chose to release the funds to a scammer in a case when they obviously knew it was a scam. They still decided to give the money to the scammer. So that is really inexplicable. So that's the entire sequence of things that that went wrong. And of course, a lot of the blame, I think, in my opinion, a lot of the blame has to lie with OCBC, because obviously, if you are relying on a means of communication that is known to be insecure to send out OTPs that can be used to activate this one token thing, that can approve very, very large transactions like 500K, then you know something is wrong, because such a thing should never have been allowed on an untrusted, or it should have been untrusted medium of communication. So so of course what OCBC can do is that they can stop allowing users to activate one token based on SMS alone. They can implement a waiting period like DBS has to make sure that victims at least have some time to realize, oh, I got scammed, and go to a branch and stop the transactions. And yeah, so my suggestion, of course, is that the banks should implement a kill switch to stop all transactions, stop all activity happening to an account once the user activates it in their online banking app, without needing to log in. It should be a very simple thing. It should be on the home page, very obvious. You just click it and it will ask you, are you sure you want to disable your account? Yes. And that should immediately stop all and any and all activity that is associated with your account, and stop any pending activities that may have been initiated by a hacker. Because it's safer to just keep the money there and then clarify with the customer once he comes to the branch, okay, what did you want to do with the money, rather than just allow the money to be transferred away first, and then after the customer comes, you say, sorry, your money gone. So of course,
clarification.
Yeah.
Okay, first the SMS, hijack SMS. I'm not sure how they can do it, but what I thought the hacker did is, the victim went to the hacker's website. The hacker's website will prompt him for ID and password. So after he entered the ID and password, the hacker straight away activate the one token, digital token. So once activate digital token, they will send you a OTP to the victim.
Yes.
So the next screen pop out is ask the victim to enter the OTP.
Yeah.
So the victim see the phone, what's the OTP? The victim enter the OTP. They don't need to route the SMS. I think it's not easy to route the SMS, not from my home.
I think okay, so I think
route
that surely in many instances, the hackers are able to get the victims to surrender the OTP on their own accord.
Correct.
So the victim gets the OTP and gives it to the sender, to the hacker, through the same way that the hacker got their username, login, and password.
Yeah,
but what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is that there are some instances where the victim actually did not provide the OTP to the attacker, but the attacker was able to obtain the OTP anyway. So so this is actually quite trivial to implement. So because as you know, there is this thing called SIM swap. So basically, you can convince someone, if you work at Singtel, it's very easy for you to just swap the SIM card of a particular number temporarily to another SIM card, and to reroute the SMS to the attacker's phone. Or another thing that you could do is to capture the SMS while it is being sent through the radio waves, and then you can decrypt the SMS, which is protected anyway by very poor encryption. So if the attacker can do that, that is also possible. Another way is that, okay, if you cannot corrupt someone at Singtel, if you cannot decrypt the SMS you intercept through the airwaves, you can also go to a foreign telco, such as a telco in a less developed country where it's easier to buy the employees. You can make use of the roaming function. So here, you know, the foreign telco will make it seem like the victim is actually roaming in their country, but actually the victim is not roaming lah. But then once the victim is deemed to be roaming in that particular country, then instead of the victim receiving the SMS OTP in Singapore, then the OTP from OCBC will be sent to the roaming victim in say Bangladesh or Pakistan, and from there, you know, the attacker will be able to receive the OTP. So there are so many ways to intercept an OTP that I would not be surprised that the attackers only need the username and password in order to and then to generate the OTP and intercept it. So I think it is definitely a possibility that you know, even if the victim did not provide the OTP, the attacker still would have been able to attack one token. In fact, it's a rather trivial attack. It's quite easy to do, and it's pretty scary.
And by the way, you want to pick the SMS from the airwave is not exactly easy because the cell phone, the airwave is only within a small area. You go out of the area, you cannot pick anything, especially
Yeah.
in another country.
Because it's a cellular network and you have many base stations, and yeah, so that's true. But
social engineering can you tell them I lost my SIM card, then
Yeah.
ask them to reactivate one new one.
But then, you know, like of course that you have the roaming attack lah. So you can just have if the foreign telco has been compromised, and I wouldn't be surprised if a telco in India or some other developing country, right, they have a group of people who are dedicated to helping the scammers. Yeah, so they can just make subscribers, make victims look like they are roaming in their country, and they just steal the OTP for you. So you don't even have to social engineer in that case.
In this case, I think it's as simple as they enter the user ID, password, and the OTP online, and then the hacker will activate the digital token.
Yeah.
Once he has your digital token, he
They can just transfer.
You
Yeah.
don't need your OTP anymore, and
Yeah.
then maybe he can also change his telephone number.
Yeah.
Then you will not get any more SMS already. The other thing is he probably will transfer the money to another local account. He cannot straight away transfer out of the country.
So if you read the Straits Times reports, right, a lot of the transfers were to a recipient in the UK. So they were actually sent to the UK.
What they will do first is to transfer to a local account, and then the local account will pick it out. They will transfer the money out to several other local accounts in smaller amounts. So this other new account will then transfer the money out in small sums.
But I think in this case, right,
they don't transfer everything out in the first instance. They can't do it.
I think in this case, right, what one of the victims, according to one of the victims lah, was that they got scammed. The hackers managed to the scammers managed to activate the one token on their account, and the hackers were able to send a wire from their bank account directly to the UK. And then when they went to the OCBC branch to ask about it, the OCBC personnel actually told them there's nothing I can do about it, we'll investigate. And a few days later, they were told by OCBC that the money was released to the transferee in the UK. So I think in at least a few of the cases, the money was sent overseas directly, and OCBC did nothing to stop it. So I think that's very worrying. Of course, naturally, a lot of these things, to avoid raising red flags, I think it's possible that, in fact, it's likely that they went through a local intermediary accounts first. But I think for at least some of the cases, they went overseas directly from the victim's bank account.
Unless that fella already has a TT account or something like that. Some people have US currency inside the bank. Their foreign currency. I don't know how I cannot, so far I cannot TT out. I only can submit, then submit a TT, but I think must go down to the bank. But for this case, there are people who apply for a job. The job is ask you when you receive money from this charity organization, you just transfer the money out.
Yeah.
So this meal, they call meal, blah blah
Yeah.
She thought that's a job.
Anyway,
So-
they'll go to jail also. They also go to jail.
Yeah, but the further is, he say I apply for a job. They accepted me, and the job is very simple. When they have donation, the money will be transferred to my account because they are foreign company. So once you receive the money, then you transfer out. There's no loss to you, no risk. You receive the money, then you transfer out, and you keep 1% or 2% like that. Then you thought that's an easy job. So like that also kena go prison. Kena
Yeah.
hantam all the time.
So cannot be gullible lah. That is
No, but the fella is
There's not enough education. I think the whole issue with all this scam, there's not enough education. You need to do a lot of advertisement and a lot of education needs to be done.
Yeah.
Just by reporting in the paper somebody got scammed, not enough.
Yeah, work from home. The fella work from home. His job is just to help you transfer money, and no loss. So
I think as long as some job, right, is requiring you to use your own bank account, then it's already a massive red flag. Like,
because
everybody think that way.
here, everybody here very clever, but some people not so clever. You see, so they only need one person to sign up. Out of 1,000 who apply for this job, high-paying job, work from home, one person successful is enough really. And
so actually what I think, right, what the police should do is they should actually apply for the job. And once they get it, right, they try to trace the account to the mastermind.
Maybe some police. That's why you don't go to the dark web. Dark web has a lot of advertisement for all kinds of things. So you go and hire a killer or hire drugs, buy drugs, all these things. Most of the time you will kena a police from Singapore, from any other country. They're all inside there. And then the chances is very high. Maybe 1 in 1,000 you hit the police. No, 1 in 1,000. 999 in 1,000 you hit the police. Then the police will report to Singapore, whichever country they tell you, and then we'll start to catch you. So
a lot of other country police is useless one. Like you go to Indonesia.
Collaboration and all the police they'll tell you, hey, I received this fella want to hire a killer. He's from this number, he's from Singapore. Then the Singapore police will follow up.
Yeah.
Then the Singapore police receive something, they will impersonate everybody like any father, mother, son all over the world. So there are a lot of police impersonator all over the dark web. So it's very dangerous to buy things on the dark web. If you really do something funny.
Actually, like last year, right? I had a credit card from DBS, and which I didn't actually use it that much. But one day, like there was this person who actually ran up, a few $100s of transactions in Indonesia. and online transactions. So I quickly called the bank, and they actually managed to give the money back to me.
Yeah, because credit card they hold back 1 week, some 1
Yeah.
month, some more.
Mm.
So they can take back. The merchant now will got to bear the cost of.
Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of scary because I didn't really use the card all that much, and somehow they were able to get hold of my credit card number and details.
You use once can already.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, lor.
But yeah lah. So one of my friend blah blah law, like he tell me I went to Italy, right? And then my card got scammed for like a few thousand euros. I told him go to the bank lah. And then he didn't know that he can get the bank to reverse. He just thought I have to suck thumb.
No, can credit card they
And then by the time I told him, right, it's a few months past already, so too late. But he already paid the bill. How? So that one quite sad lah.
if you are very good citizen, you pay your credit card bill, everything, the scammer will, or money laundering people will like you to pretend to report card loss. So they will rack up a few $1,000, many $1,000, and then you declare loss is a fraud. And then after that, he share the loot with you. This type of scammer also have. Tell you first, hey, you are a good citizen. What about you trade your card loss with a few $1,000? Wow, easy money. But one time, you don't try again because they have a record of you reporting loss.
Yeah.
And you report loss again next week, then they come and investigate you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people like Tan Boon Swai say report loss, somebody chalk up 10,000, the bank will trust him. What's first time such case? And there are a lot of people, thousands of people of this type of caliber. So you can make a few million.
Shall we start a business?
No, not my business. But somebody actually asked me, but I did one.
That one is very evil lah.
No, it's okay to cheat the bank. That's what they think. But the bank is very rich. You don't cheat the poor like a scammer. At least they don't feel guilty.
But when I read the stories of the victims, right, I felt very sad for them. Like the guy who lost 500K is but of course it's good that OCBC managed to give them their money back lah. But of course the scammers are also happy. $8 million.
Yeah, we should also report.
Yeah.
We pretend that, hey, I also lost money.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the scammers actually pretended to be a victim, and then he get the scam money, and then he also get the money from the bank. Possible.
Easy to catch already.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah. So of course, like in the past, also got all the romance scams like WeChat, when they have the shake function, and then they pretend to be a girl to like you, and they make you give them WeChat credits. I think in the past, very common. And then that's also a recently there's been also a job scam, right? They'll send you a SMS saying, oh, do you want a job? And then they'll tell you, oh, so what the job entails is that you will you will go onto this website and you'll buy stuff. And then once you buy all this, of course, the website is operated by the scammer lah. Then once you buy stuff, right, you write review and then we give you back the money. So this is just to boost the popularity of the item you're buying. And that's what the scammer claims. So, so of course, the first 2 times, you know, they'll let you cash out $2, $10. Then they'll make you buy this thing that's $5,000. And once you buy the $5,000 thing, once the money leaves your account, then they'll say, oh, your account has been frozen for fraudulent activity, so you won't be getting your money back. And then, and that's where you know you've been scammed lah. So unfortunately, I think a lot of people have fallen victim to this job scam, purchase and refund scam as well. Wonder if it's been on the news all that much, but
hello.
yeah.
Can I ask some question? So since the soft token is not so secure, our name got such problem. So can we ask for the hard token? So now I think some of the bank already no more issuing the hard token. Can we request back or not? Can the government force it so that we all can feel more safer to use hard token rather than let the soft token to be in use?
I think OCBC let me send you see it in the chat. So I think after the entire scam fiasco, OCBC now says that they are going to continue with the physical token and they want to reverse the plan to phase them out.
Yes, I heard about this one. But how about some other bank like Charter Bank or Hong Kong and HSBC? I think they already phased out. So can we request that to be put back?
I think if the bank has phased out, right, then it's quite hard to request them to do that. What you can do is to maybe write to MAS and you know, get enough people to write to MAS to tell them to make it a regulatory requirement that banks offer hardware tokens to their customers. But I doubt that MAS will take action on such a thing lah.
I think most of the banks still have a hard token.
Yeah, but yeah.
HSBC, I think we still have also.
I think one way is to use the market forces lah. Just encourage your friends, right? If the bank that they are using does not offer hardware token, then just don't use the bank. Move all your money out.
I think the software token is also safe. It's just that you need to be prudent. You need to make sure that you don't get scammed easily. When you look at things that send to you, you always need to be careful. Don't just click on it and input all the required information.
So the
software token is still very convenient. You can use it everywhere. Like if you use hardware token, like president with one whole bunch, then how are you going to carry it out all the time?
The problem with software token is this. The problem with software token is that it's on the same phone as you use to conduct your transaction. So it's not a two-factor authentication. It's the same thing. Because you're logging into the internet banking using your phone and you're authenticating it doesn't make sense, right?
That is provided you lose control of your account. See? If you have control of your account, there's not an issue.
But okay, so if you lose your phone, then jialat lah.
Lose your phone. You see, in your phone, you have a fingerprint. You have face authentication. You have bio authentication. All this. You need to sell all this. You see, you cannot just leave it open.
No, you're all backing up the wrong thing. It has nothing to do with the physical token. You can ask the bank to give you a physical token, but the hacker will target you to enter the user ID, the password, and the OTP, and the hacker activates the digital token. the bank must disable the digital token. You must have an option tell the bank don't ever activate the digital token because I don't want it.
I think there are some banks that have an option to permanently disable SMS OTP, so that you can never.
Even if you use a physical token, the hacker on the web page itself can ask you to enter the token number.
Yeah,
They can ask you to do that. It's not a problem. You still can enter. It's still the problem.
But then you log in only what? You log in
So
only.
physical or digital, no difference.
No, the difference is when you activate, you only manage to log in. After log in, if they want to add user, then you'll prompt you with a sign signature there, must sign, and then the SMS will come to you and say, hey, you want to add this user. So something wrong already, what? But this one is you enter the user ID, password, and OTP, and they activate the digital token on the phone.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And once the thing is, once the once the token is activated, once the digital token is activated, there is no longer the thing where you have to sign the transaction using a hardware token.
That is the problem, not the digital token. You can use your digital token. You can use your manual token, your physical token, but the hacker will target you, and the hacker activates the digital token on the phone, and you are game over. You see, so this is the weakness. Not
right. So physical or soft token or digital is not the issue. The issue is the person. It's you. The onus is on you, not to fall victim into all these kind of scams.
Now the issue is that they can activate the digital token too easily already.
Yeah.
This is the problem. You have your manual token, they still allow the hacker to activate the digital token. So your manual token is useless. You still cannot scam. So once you have manual token, they should not ask you to activate your digital token, or they should
unless you go to a branch.
Yeah. Where can so easy? OTP, and then the digital token is activated by the scammer, and then it's game over already. You thought nothing happened.
So Beng Cheng, I think you're correct. The digital token is quite a frightening thing because we do not know what kind of a new thing or new idea this scammer they would do. No? So you're right. I think we can only use the manual or the hardware token, not the software, because software token, you will never know. Once it's being activated, all kind of thing can happen. Like I think Chartered Bank, it just approved. Well, whole thing just it make you so convenient. That also make it very, very convenient for the scammer.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I have to go to the bank to say I want to use all the hardware. I don't want to use the digital anymore. Quite frightening to hear all these things.
Yeah, SMS also can say I lost my SIM card. Then you can get a replacement. You just photocopy your IC. Can really.
True. See, the trouble is that you may know, but then the trouble is that your people around you, your wife, your children, some of them do not know. And when this happen, it's just too sad to see all these things happen around you. No?
That's because there's not enough education done.
No, not everybody is so smart or so well informed by all these things. Very hard to say.
If the government has put in the same effort like they put in on not to mask up like what they do last time with all the advertisement on the TV, radio, 24-hour, 24/7. Then people will learn. Not enough effort, not enough education.
It's not education. You go to the hacker website. The hacker website also have education. Ask you don't anyhow go and enter your ID and password. This is a scam, and they still enter. Okay,
you see, the bank or financial institution needs to make it very difficult for you to change token or change any information or this. You have to make this. You see, one way the crypto exchange do is that whenever you want to make any changes, you need to take a selfie, plus write on a piece of paper the date that you want to activate the changes, plus the platform that you are using, and then send it to them. They want to see you and a copy of your ID plus the information. It makes it very difficult for you to change.
Yeah, that should be the way. See, so it is not the physical token or the digital token. It is too easy to get the digital token. You want a physical token, they will mail to you, and it's also easy to hijack the mail. You provide a different address, or just wait at your letterbox for the postman to drop in. Then you just fish it out from your letterbox. It's very easy. You just take a cardboard, just slot in, you peel it out, you pull out the cardboard, your letter come out also. It's like that. Just
I just tell you what, just go to a bank that if you want to keep your money safe, right? Just go to a bank that you don't really have an account with. Go to a bank and just write yourself a check, and then move most of your money to account in that bank, and then don't activate internet banking at all.
you want.
So if you want to do any transactions, you have to go to branch.
Keep it under your bed, like Beng Cheng's grandmother did.
Put in your CPF.
卖啦
Put in CPF, then the hacker cannot take out already. No, the fine thing is some bank even allow you to withdraw your fixed deposit, terminate your fixed deposit, and then it come back into your account, and then the hacker can transfer out again.
Shouldn't allow them to do that online. If you want to terminate your fixed deposit, you should only be allowed to do at branch.
I mean, if they allow, then your fixed deposit also gone. Who will put 5,000 in saving account? It's probably in fixed deposit or somewhere, and then the fella just terminate it and then transfer back into his own saving account. And then you can transfer out already. You see? So main thing is it's too easy to activate the digital token. And it's not that difficult to ask the bank to give you a physical token. The scammer can do that. All you need is just to change the address. Once you log in ID and password and the OTP, the hacker will also do the same thing on his website. After he log in already, then he will go and change my mailing address. And then he say, send me my digital token. Now no battery. They'll send you already.
If the hacker can get into your account and do all these things, why would you want to do it? Just transfer your money out already.
Cannot. You want to transfer, you transfer money, you need OTP. The fella, you need to create an account, and then you need to sign, and then they receive an SMS. You have to create an account to who?
But then you can't, if you can do that, why not just activate the digital token instead of requesting a physical one?
So you must make it difficult. But then he can also go one more round to change your address and ask for physical token. He say run out of battery. Replacement.
Shouldn't be that easy to change address lah.
Very easy. You go in you change already. You log in address.
I think one thing they should do is to make sure the person has to come into the bank branch to change the address. They have to make sure that the address is the same one as on the back of the NRIC.
No need.
Oh,
that's what they should do.
They don't need.
That's what they should do.
Like the example I give, like cryptocurrency, all these, they ask you to send a copy of your telephone bill or your utility bills with your address and your name on it.
Can cheat lah.
That can fake one.
You can photocopy.
Say lah, at least it's a step, you see. You cannot just go online to your account and just change it. You need to provide some evidence.
Now you can, you go in, you change address. Then you say, my token no battery. They send you a new one. Then you got token already. You can use the physical token to hack in already because you already know his ID and password. You just wait for the bank to deliver the digital token. After you receive, you
Okay,
just
physical token no battery. I asked them to send. They say it must go to the bank.
oh, mine they send to me.
Yeah. Ask me to go to the bank and apply. So most of my digital token but no battery already.
Oh, no battery they send. Very easy. DBS one, just submit. They send to you.
No, they say it must go to the bank.
No, I didn't go. They sent the post to me.
I think it depends on the bank process.
My token off but no battery.
Hey, where got this type of token? Where got people?
That one is damn old already.
Fake one now. No more. Nobody use this type already. Come on.
God.
No more.
No battery.
My God, this one is from like 10,
Hi.
20 years ago.
Maybe
Can I raise something?
Maybe this one.
This one this is DBS.
This one is damn old lah.
DBS.
Can I say something?
Now,
my understanding is some of the bank actually they already notify me that they are not going to use SMS anymore. Instead, they are using the so-called notifications, which is another channel they are actually using for disseminate the information to the account holder. So they are actually phasing out the SMS. Yeah, the use of SMS. The other thing is actually when you receive a new token, actually you have to activate the token with another password that they will actually send separately from to for the to the addresses of the requesting for the token. But of course, if you actually falsify the bank with another new address and so on, then I think whether you can actually have a separate mail to actually for the activations password, there's make no difference lah. But I believe that there are many ways that actually the bank try to be make it convenient for the account holder using phone banking and so on. Of course, during every phone banking call, you have to identify yourself before they actually do it. But nevertheless, if you are really a professional scammer and so on, you can do that kind of thing also. But I think it's actually making it quite difficult also. And if you're going to use phone banking, it's also quite a big problem when you have an account in an overseas bank account. Then you have to make sort of you cannot use front apps to do this kind of communication. You see, you have to actually use the so international call and so on. And it costs a lot of money. So I think they are bank like DBS and so on, and Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank and Standard Chartered. Definitely, they are 100% phasing out of using the physical token because internationally they are actually all using digital token already.
yeah,
I do not know. Of course, for example, Hong Kong Bank and so on. Actually, they actually have a separate sort of entity. Singapore Hong Kong Bank is actually nothing to do, like say Australia or Hong Kong and so on.
Yeah, don't
So
use HSBC.
some of them actually have the physical token and so on. Okay, that is the thing I want to sort of bring up.
I think HSBC is well known as Al Qaeda's favorite bank. They always help the terrorists to launder the money.
No, they have Mong Wanzhou deal with Iran.
Why don't bring in some other thing then you get more confusion to the subject that we are talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, what I think is that I won't use a bank that requires me to do a digital token. I will only use banks that have hardware tokens.
But to be honest, if you're using the the physical tokens,
Yeah.
sometimes you really very difficult for you to actually make any kind of resetting or something, because you have to press different button, and then you have to do different route and so on. And I have actually cases with the Hong Kong bank. The time slot actually they let you to react. It's very short. And very often, in one of the steps, you exceeded the allocated time, and the whole thing had to restart again.
But it's
So
not
it's
a
also
problem for the hackers, you see. They are very familiar with the interface and everything, and they can do it.
I know. That is why, for example, once I activate one of my token, you may not require to do anything maybe for the next one year or 18 months. And by then, in between, they also have actually the bank itself maybe have so-called enhance their procedure and so on. Then there is a new set of that procedure coming in. Even you can remember the first time what you do, it may not applicable for the subsequent after 18 months. So there is very big hassle actually. And sometimes, again, if the token is actually from a foreign bank, and you don't use it so often for that, and then by the time that you actually discover that your tokens are actually dead because of no battery and so on, then to getting a new one, the first thing you have to actually authentify yourself and with the bank through some means before you can request for a replacement. Are you going to write a letter to them? I'm not too sure. So there is also.
I'm not sure if a letter is secure anyway. Anyone can write a letter.
Yeah. I know. But if you want to go in that direction, then of course nothing is actually safe. Yeah. So I don't think we should actually.
I think
We should
SMS
drill in
Otp
that
is better than
directions.
letter.
But to write a letter and so on with a signature to actually verify yourself also sometimes is also quite silly. For example, I go to the bank and then I sign on the counter sheet and so on. The fellow saying that you have to sign again, and I say then they will just let me see my previous signature, and then they say you try to to copy. So
How is that
it's very
secure?
much very much depend on how alert you are and how alert is a banker with the sort of teller and so on. Some of the younger one, they don't have enough experience. They can be easily conned by the customer also. Yeah. So okay, we can keep on speculating, but then I think the main subject, I think Zhi Yang, they're trying to actually tell us is actually mainly using OCBC as a case to actually explain to us how actually the scam actually able to actually go around, and then the scammer can actually eventually siphon out the money and so on. But the rest of it, we can come and talk about it, and we can continue for another hours. I hope that actually it will not actually confuse more people and then sketch everybody from the using the internet banking. That is what I worry about. If you talk too much of it and then everybody stop using it, what are you going to do with it? Today's you have to use pay now, you have to pay whatever it is. Of course, you have to pay now, which is actually completely isolated from your account because you transfer your money into your pay now before you use it, you see. Of course, you can put 10,000 inside, then somebody can actually, if you click wrongly, the 10,000 also gone. So if you put only 1,000 down there, and you try to limit, say 200 per day and so on, but sometimes you're going to restrict yourself that you will go and buy a new laptop and so on, and it costs 2,000, and then the payment cannot go through. So it depends what you're going to do actually. Okay, that is what I try to use it as an example, but don't drag into the PayLah. And then it's not my intention to actually, they don't going to debate between using PayLah or PayNow or Pay what and so on. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, let's keep to our own tonight's subject again.
PayLah is linked to your bank. Then once you cannot compromise your PayLah, also game over.
Correct. PayLah is actually, if you put a lot of money there, actually you can even easier for you
can
to
also
actually
top
make.
up the PayLah from the PayLah app, right? So
automatic top out from your bank account.
So they can just transfer $1,000 at a time.
Yeah, 1,000 every day 1,000 They can
depend on what is your setting lah. Actually,
by default
you can restrict yourself that one day, within 24 hours and so on. So much and so on. Or her payment cannot exceed a certain amount. They also you can have all kind of setting. What I'm trying to saying is, if you're going to set in such a
you set but still lose money. You can do any setting. It doesn't matter.
I agree with what Graham say. We must embrace technology and not scared of it. Currently the thing is very convenient where you can use your banking very conveniently. The moment you set all those restrictions, then it becomes very cumbersome already. We should not be going back to the old days. What we should do is to build a more secure system. The bank, the government, and all those stakeholders should build a better system.
But I think one thing that is one thing that I think, right, is that if you don't I don't think if you use internet banking, you will be doing large transactions on a daily basis. I don't think that's very often that people will be transferring more than 20K out of their bank account on a certain day. So what happens is that, perhaps banks can just set a hard limit. Once you are above, if you're a retail customer, once you're above a certain amount, you have to go to branch. Or unless you are a rich person.
I think there's already something like that in place already, if not wrong.
Actually, what you mentioned is that, you're talking an individual account, but how about those people that working for a company who are actually authorized in this kind of transaction?
I thought about retail banking only one.
Yeah. Okay.
But for the company is another matter lah. For the company, if the company is the company problem lah. Is the own internal
Correct. They should actually, those that actually are doing on behalf of the company's account. Then of course those staff are actually more familiar with the transaction and so on, and what the sort of precaution they should have the knowledge to prevent it to minimize the risk and so on right. But what I'm trying to say, you cannot just sort of restrict by saying that if you are a retail company, then you are not transacting. That depend on how big is your if you have a like Japan's house and so on, this kind of thing. There are many branches, they are also doing retail. Their transaction also go in millions, So there are many of these things. But then again, what I want to tell is, we come back to this this kind of thing, and then I really want, because just now I raised up the notification. I think notification is actually another system inside the Android system. Nowadays, there are actually certain notifications. For example, I go to a website, I want a certain YouTube, then I put subscribe, and then I want to receive notification. Is that notification same as what the bank is actually trying to use it to notify their client and so on? Anybody can actually help me to clarify that.
There's an Android notification API. So
correct.
Yeah.
Is this the same notifications used by the bank now, which they want to implement it?
It's the same sort of notification.
Inform.
Yes. It's the same sort of notification.
The same sort.
They send it through the same service.
A more secure way?
Yeah, more secure.
It's a more secure way?
to your
Or
bank.
it's as easy as
Because
the
it's
scammer
secure.
can actually sort of intercept on the SMS.
Cannot. The notification went to go to your app, your OCBC app, not to SMS.
So it is a secure connection,
Yeah, it's more secure.
but
So-
it might go through Google servers.
Yeah, Google should be secure, otherwise you can hammer unthumb them. iPhone also have this, Apple also have this style of notification.
Yeah.
You see, next one the hacker can target is the PayLah app. You just need the victim to enter the ID, password, and OTP, and then you can have the PayLah in the hacker's phone already. And then every day 1,000, 1,000 also good. Right? Oh, PayLah.
Actually, how do the scammers how do they fucking fall asleep at night? They steal people's life savings.
Can, that's their job, ma. When you sell Coca-Cola, do you care that fella drink already and fall sick or get fat? You don't care, wa.
Okay, I have to go off right now. I have a class coming up. So
Okay, so we will end this session.